Okay, so most of the equations in this section, they'll already have it equal to 0. If they don't, then you got to move everything to one side so that you have it equal to 0. Okay? And then once it's in this format, whatever is in front of the x squared is your a, so there'll be a number there. And when x squared is by itself, what is the number that's in front of it? 1. Okay, and then we have to find out what's the b. The b is whatever is in front of the x, and sometimes it'll be just x, so means there's a 1 there. Okay, and then the c. So we're using those 3 numbers to plug into the quadratic equation. This is the quadratic equation. So it's a negative b. And we always get 2 answers. Okay, so that's where the plus and the minus come from. You'll get this when we start plugging these in. And then we have a square root, and then it's b squared minus 4 times a times c. And then all of that's over 2 times a. Okay, so for us, some of us that struggle with factoring, breaking things apart into the 2 parentheses, this is another way to solve it, because you always get 2 answers because we have 2 parentheses. Okay, so it's just another method of using it. Okay, everybody get that written down? Okay, so first problem. So number 41. You don't have to write the word solve. Let me make this bigger. Just write the equation. So it's x squared plus 5x minus 14 equals 0. Okay, so remember our whole goal is to make sure that the equation is equal to 0. So our first step is that first. Okay. The second part is we need to figure out what the a is, what the b is, and what the c is. Okay, so the a is what is in front of the x squared. What is the number that is in front of the x squared? 1. Okay, so a is 1. B is what's in front of the x. So that means my b is what? 5. And then the c is the one that doesn't have any variables attached to it. So the c is a negative 14. Should be okay to there. Okay, so now we're going to plug it into the quadratic equation. You don't need to rewrite this. I'm just rewriting it. You already have it at the top of your notes. So that's the negative b plus or minus b squared minus 4 times a times c, and all of that's over 2 times a. Okay, so I'm putting in a negative b. My b is 5. So I'm just replacing all those variables with the numbers. So I have a negative 5. Okay, then we have the plus and the minus. Okay, then I'm going to write the square root symbol. And then I'm going to square 5. So for right now, you guys will learn to simplify these down, but we're going to write it out so that we know where we got 25 from. And then it goes minus 4 times a times c. And then all of that's over 2 times a, and it was 2 times. Okay, questions up to there where any of those numbers came from. And again, you'll learn to simplify this down, not have to write it all the steps out, but we're good? Okay, so now we just do order of operations with square roots and stuff like that to simplify it down. So in order to do that, we've got to do everything underneath the radical first. Okay, so my first step is to simplify that. Okay, so 5 squared would make that 25. Okay, so I'm just simplifying this down. So 25. Okay, now with your calculator, a negative times negative is a positive, and really 4 times 1 is going to be 4, right? So really you're just going 4 times 14. 56. And we just said it was a negative times negative, so it makes it a positive 56. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and write everything else that I have not simplified. On the bottom, 2 times 1 is just going to be 2. Okay, questions up there where those numbers came from. Okay, so now you're just going to combine those 2 numbers, so 25 and 56, and you get what? 81. Okay, so I'm just going to go like this because this became 81. Okay, is 81 a perfect square? Which is what? 9. Okay, so I took the square root of 81, so now I have a negative 5 plus or minus 9 because it is a perfect square, okay, over 2. Good? Okay, Now we're down to where we can get our two answers, okay? So what we're going to do, and we're going to write it out, but we're going to go a negative 5 plus 9, whatever that is, divided by 2. And then we're going to go a negative 5 minus 9, whatever that is, divided by 2. Okay, so we're going to write it out on the first one. You write it below. I'm going to write right here so we can put it on there. Okay, so a negative 5 plus 9 divided by 2. Well, negative 5 plus 9 is 4. And I have 4 divided by 2. Okay, so there's one of my answers. Okay, now we're doing it again, but now with the minus. So it's a negative 5 minus 9. What's a negative 5 minus 9? Negative 14. So now I have a negative 14 over 2, which is a negative 7. So my two answers are 2 and a negative 7. And it doesn't matter which one you write first. They're both x's that you're solving for. Okay? It's not too bad as long as you can not lose track of numbers. We'll have some that won't simplify down, like the radicals won't simplify down, and I'll show you how to do those in just a minute. Okay, so let's try it again. Number 43. And now I'm going to have you try one on your own before we move on to a different one. You don't need to write this. Okay, so it's already moved to one side, so it's equal to 0. So I can figure out my A, my B, and my CR. Okay, so plug it into here. This is a negative B. What is my B? Okay, so the way that this looks is the equation is negative, but I'm plugging in a negative 2. So it's really a positive 2. Because the equation is negative, and you're plugging in a negative, so it kind of cancels it out. Okay? And then I have plus or minus. Okay, the next thing is to square my B. And you just said B was negative 2. So if I go with negative 2 times a negative 2, that's going to be a positive 4. Okay, I squared my B. Okay, then I have a negative 4 times A, and what's my C? Negative 15. And then all of that's over 2 times. Okay, so 2 times 1. There. Okay, so remember, I already did that part, so I don't have to square it, because we already did that. So now I'm going to negative times a negative again, which is going to be a positive. And 4 times 15 is, okay? And then you added 4. So that would make it, okay, it's 64 perfect square. Yeah. So all of that, okay, so this became 60, and then you added 4, so that all became 64, right? 64 is a perfect square, which is 8. So now we have 2 plus or minus 8 over what? 2. Okay, the last one I wrote them out. You don't need to do that, okay? You can probably do this in your head. So 2 plus 8 is 10, divided by 2 is 5. 2 minus 8 would be a negative 6, divided by 2 would be a negative. Okay, did I lose anybody? Because we did a lot of it kind of in our head where it came from. Okay, let me see if you got this. So you're trying this one. And if you need to write out A is this, B is this, do that. If you can jump straight to the negative B and plugging it in. How'd we do? Good? Okay. Yeah, if we just multiply wrong, that throws one thing off. Good? On how to plug it in and where to go. I wrote out more steps on that. Okay, so there's going to be some of them where you're actually going to get whole numbers. Okay, you're going to get positive and negative whole numbers. These next ones I'm going over, the square root doesn't simplify into a perfect square. Okay, so these are the ones that we're practicing now. Okay, good? Anybody still need that? Okay. So number 42. Still doing the same thing, it's just we won't be able to simplify it all the way down. We're going to have to leave it in radical form. Okay, so my A is 3, my B is negative 6, and my C is 1. Okay, so I'm plugging it into the equation, and it's a negative B, but this is negative, so I'm going to change it to a positive 6, plus or minus. Okay, then it's B squared. So a negative 6 squared is going to make it negative 6 times what? 36. I said positive 6. Negative 4 times A times C. All of that over 2 times A, so 2 times 3 is going to make it 6. We're good up to there? Okay, so we already squared the B, right? So now I'm just going to go a negative 4 times 3, which makes it a negative 12, right? And a negative 12 times 1 is still going to be a negative 12. So I'm going 36 minus 12. Just give me 12. 24. Okay, so round this down. So we've got 6 plus or minus square root of 24 over 6. Okay, it is 24 a perfect square. No, so we've got to break it down. So we're doing the factor tree thing. Remember with the factor tree thing, it doesn't matter where you start at, whatever first jumps into your mind. Okay, I'm going to do 2 and 12. 12, I'm going to do 3 and 4, and 2 and 2. Okay, what do I have a pair of? Some 2's. Okay, so I'm just rewriting this now what this is. You just said I had a pair of 2's. What was left that was not a pair? And a 3. Okay, because these guys were pairs, right? But I still had a 2 and a 3. So it means a 6 is left on the inside. Okay, and all of that is over 6. Technically, we could stop right now, but the way that they'll write the answer is if any of these whole numbers can be reduced, all 3 of them, just the whole numbers, not the radical. Because remember, a radical has to be the radical. Then reduce them. So 2 can go into all of those numbers. So 2 goes into there 3 times. 2 goes into there 1 time. You could write a 1 if you want to. You don't have to, because remember the radicals by themselves, there's 1 in front. Okay, and then 2 goes into there 3 times. So this is actually your answer. So it's the same thing, we just can't simplify the radical. Okay, so we're just going to have to remember how to simplify the radical to get it simplified as far as we can. Okay, so let's try it again. And then you'll try one on your own. This one we have some less numbers to plug in. Okay, what is my A? What is my B? 0, because there is no B, right? There's no X, just X by itself. Okay, and then C is negative 18. Okay, so I have a negative B. Do I have a B? So I don't even need to write that first part. So then I go straight to the positive and the negative. Okay, what's the first thing I square? B, right? It's B squared. Is there anything? No, because 0 squared is not going to be there. So then I have the negative 4 times A times C. And all of that's over 2 times A, so 2 times 1 is 2. So I just don't have that first part, and I don't have the B squared, but I still have the rest of it. So a negative times a negative is going to give me a positive, and you're going to go 4 times 18. We got what? 72. Okay, so positive and negative, 72 underneath there, over 2. Okay, so now we're breaking down 72. So 72, I'm going to go 9 and 8. 9, I'm going to go 3 and 3. 8, I'm going to go 2 and 4. And 2 and 2. So I have a pair of 3s and I have a pair of 2s. Okay, so what am I writing on the outside? 6, because you multiply, right? What was left on the inside? 2. And it's over 2. Okay, whole number with whole number. Can I simplify that? 6 divided by 2 is what? 3. So your two answers are a positive and a negative. If we did, but we're not because we have ISATs this week, we're not going to do the Kia. On the Kia, they have them separated. One of your answers is 3 rad 2, the other one's negative 3 rad 2. Okay, we just write, we don't want to write it twice, so we just write the positive and negative. Okay, so I'm going to get you started on this one, and then you're going to try to see if you can simplify your radical. What is wrong with this one before you even start? It's not all to one side. Okay, and you don't want to have to worry about a negative because then you'll have dividing by negative. Okay, so move all of this to the other side. So just make sure your x squared is not negative. Okay, so we're going to go x squared. When I move this to the other side, it's going to change it to a positive 3x, and then change that to a negative 2. You'll get the same answer if you did move that over. You're just going to have to divide by negative, and it's you don't want to have more negatives in your equation. Okay, now you have your A, your B, or C. So plug it in and see what you guys can simplify it down. This one's actually easier than the last one. Negative times negative is going to change that to a positive 8. So then you have 9 plus 8, which is what? Can you break 17 down at all?
No.
No. So you're done. Because you can't break 17 down, right? And then the whole number, there's nothing in common that you can simplify. So less steps in this one. Good? Okay. Now, this next one you're going to freak out, but it's so super easy as long as you just pay attention to the letters, okay? So we're going to do 2 of them. I'm going to do one, you're going to try one, and then we're almost done. I'm constipated, buddies. So 48, it's qx squared plus rx plus s equals 0. Okay, don't overthink this. These are all different variables, okay? All we're going to do is rewrite the quadratic equation, but you're not going to have a, b's, and c's. You're going to have q, r, and s's. So we're just replacing the a, b, and c with the right letter, okay? So what is my a in this equation? Q. What is my b? R. And my c? S. So now let's write the quadratic equation, but replace them with the proper letters. Okay, so it's going to be negative r. Okay, what's the first thing underneath the square root? r squared minus, oops, minus 4 times q times f. All of that's over 2q. That's it. So all you're doing is just replacing the letters with the right letters. Okay, the A, B, and the C with the new letter. That's the answer. Because you can't combine them, you can't do anything. They're all variables, different variables. That's it. Yeah. Okay. Let's see if you just, I don't know. That part I don't know why, but I think just knowing where to plug in the numbers in the spots. They're not numbers, they're variables and stuff. Okay, so your turn. 48. 48. So it's a P, a Q, and an R. So it's negative, what? Q. Plus and a minus. Squared. Easy? I hope so. So if you skip over those on the Boston quiz and test, I'll forgive you, but I'll do it. Okay, so this last one that I'm doing with you, last one, and you're not going to have a try, it's just I want to make sure that you've got it. We have to simplify it first before, and I think you only have like one on each assignment, okay? But this would be the type of thing that you'd be lucky enough to have on ISATs and SATs. So we got to get it so that everything is simplified down. So order of operations, we would have to do the exponents first. So that means I need to go x minus 6 times x minus 6 first. And if you can't read that, it's 4 parentheses x minus 6 squared minus 7. Okay, so we distribute, right? So that would be x squared. I'd have a negative 6x and another negative 6x. So that would be a negative 12x plus. Okay, are we good to there? Okay, so all we've done is that part. Okay, so now I need to multiply by 4. Okay, that's my next step. We're almost done. So now I need to distribute that. So I would have 4x squared minus 48x plus 144. And that was just distributing the 4. Good? Okay, one last thing is what? Minus the 7. So with the like term, I'm going to subtract the 7 from there, which gives me 4x squared minus 48x plus 137. Okay, what is my A? B?
48.
Negative 48, and then your C is 137. Okay, and then you'd be able to plug it in. We're not going to plug it in. I just want to make sure that you had to get to that point right there. Okay. Good? Okay. So I don't even know if I left you one on the notes to try, but that's the only difference. It's just the bigger numbers to plug in. Okay. I will tell you which ones to cross off unless you want to look it up yourself. ISACs tomorrow. So we have the study skills. I guess you can finish working on this. You don't finish now. Or for the senior school run walk that we got. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, ready? Okay, you're crossing off 41, 42, 43, 44 for the first four. So 41, 42, 43, 44, 47, 48, 49, 52, 53. Okay, so I gave you 21 to try on your own, but they'll be worth 2 points apiece. And where the 2 points come from is the positive negative thing. Okay, so you're either going to solve it with a positive, solve it with a negative. Sometimes you'll get two different answers. Other times, if it's like the square root ones where they don't simplify down like this, your two answers are right here. That's that positive and negative. Okay, you don't need to write them two separate. Don't write it as a -3 plus rat 17 over 2, -3 minus 17 over 2. Don't do that. So that plus and the minus, is, if that's there, you're going to get your 2 points. Okay. The other ones that you can actually simplify down, like these ones, that's where you get your 2 points. It's from those two answers. Okay. Good. Okay. So you have 21 to try on your own, and you better be able to do 67 super fast. And I guess that's the only one I left you that was like that. Okay.